And welcome back to another exciting episode of repairing the 8590B spectrum analyzer. Anyway, as you can all tell, it's back together again, and my new frequency counter is on top of it, and just wanted to run over everything. I put it back together again. As I stated in my previous video, I really couldn't find anything wrong with that resolution bandpass board. Everything was kind of in and out of tolerance. So I really figured what I would do is just kind of tweak it, which is essentially what I did. I put a 20 picofarad capacitor in parallel, as I stated in my previous video I was going to try to do, with the Vericap. And I was able to adjust everything into tolerance, and it's working pretty good. So I put it all back together again, and it seems to be all right. Just wanted to go over everything really pretty quick. First of all, that's the calibration frequency. It should be 300 megahertz. It's produced by a 600 megahertz crystal, which is then fed through a flip-flop, which divides it by 2 to the 300 megahertz. As you can tell, it's pretty close. 755, 56 in this case, hertz off. Not very bad at all. So that seems to be working pretty good, and I'm just going to run through the confidence test, excuse me, I'm very tired today, and the calibration, and show you all that it works well. Now, remember, this unit does not have a counterlock board. Supposedly, if you place a counterlock board on the 8590 series, the firmware recognizes the spectrum analyzer then as an 8591. Now, the counterlock board basically locks the 600 megahertz signal and the YAG-tuned oscillator to a reference signal, which is, I believe, 10 megahertz, and you can get that in oven controlled as well. And it basically locks everything together, and it allows very, very accurate measurement. The accuracy of this device is plus or minus 5 megahertz. Not very accurate. Actually, this one is quite a bit more accurate than what the specs call for. The accuracy with the counterlock board should be in the kilohertz range, like 1 kilohertz. I'm thinking about maybe putting a counterlock board in it. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to run through the calibration right now and the confidence test, and we'll go from there. All right. So let me take it loose. Okay. I want to strip this. It's giving me trouble. There we go. Okay. Now, preset. You can see the harmonics. Perfect. Now we'll do confidence test. And as you can tell, it passed. Confidence test pass. So we'll do preset again. And I'm going to run it through the calibration now. Now this might take a while, so I'm just going to sit the phone here. So calibration. And here we go. Try to get it nice and focused. Right now it's doing frequency calibration. And it passed frequency calibration. So now it's doing amplitude calibration. Now this one is a little more lengthy, but it's interesting to watch. And here is where it's figuring out the envelope for the resolution bandpass filter, seeing what the 3 dB point is. And if you can tell in the lower left hand corner, it's going through each setting of the filters. In turn. Now it's calibrating the attenuator. And I don't know if you can hear the attenuator clicking or not. The attenuator is a mechanical attenuator, and that's why it clicks. Now it's calibrating the logarithmic and linear amplifier. And you see calibration done. So it passed. And what we do now is we store the calibration constants, and then we're going to look at them. And these were the calibration constants. Now you can tell on a few of them, what you want to look at is where it says BW amp. That's bandwidth amp, amplitude. A few of them are a little high, the 1.66, the 1.39, the 1.29. They really should be about 0.89 or 0.85 at maximum, but it did not fail and it's well within spec. So, you know, I'm just not going to mess with it. It works. So what we're going to do now is preset and do one more confidence test. And this is using those new correction coefficients. And as you can tell, it passed. And now we will preset again. Set the center frequency for 300 megahertz. The span for 10 megahertz. And there we go. Peak search, peak, peak, and then peak search. And we're basically at 300.9 and negative 20 dBm. So the amplitude is pretty much perfect. As far as the frequency is concerned, we're off about 900 kilohertz, which is a lot. But remember, this instrument, the accuracy is supposed to be plus or minus 5 megahertz. So we are well within spec for this instrument. With the counterlock board, it would be far more accurate. So it is fixed, and that pretty much concludes this video. And by the way, this is my new frequency counter, and it's working as well. So thank you all for watching, and take care. If you have any comments or any questions, please leave them in the comments and questions section under the video. Bye-bye.